hello guys.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Jedz Moto. It's Jedz here and we're talking about my multi-part Honda CBR 250/300 swap on a Honda Monkey. This will go to any year up to 2021. I'm not sure if things are going to change in the 2022 year. There might be some differences in the harnesses and how things bolt up. But the goal of this Honda CBR swap is to kind of get a little more oomph on my Monkey. As you all know, that I am currently running a Monkey utility sidecar from Industrial Moto, and I find that to be a pretty nice little rig, just a little underpowered. I currently have the stock engine with a 186 big bore kit, or BBK as the Grom fellas say, from DHM, the tuner that does all sorts of work for Groms and Monkeys. So it was a good kit, does great with a stock Monkey. It had a lot of power, do 75, 80 miles an hour with my humongous butt on it. So it was a nice kit, but when you added the sidecar, especially now that it's built with a battery in it and it's getting set up for long distance touring, the 186 is a little small lunged for it. Just to keep the revs down and have something a little more sustainable, I decided to go with the CBR swap. Now, I've got a Honda CBR 250 engine. I bought it thinking it was a 300. It is a 250. So the first thing you want to do with these things is, obviously, if you're going to get an engine or a bike from anyone, a 250 is by classification the beginner's bike. So what that means is novices are going to own this motorcycle. You don't really know where this motorcycle's been. Don't really know the maintenance history. You don't know if it's been dropped or whatever. What I did was I decided to go through the whole thing. When I picked up the engine, the stator wires were clipped, the pickup wires were clipped, which not necessarily a good thing. So I had to replace the stator, the pickup, the speedometers, pickup. Just had to make sure all the wires were there because I'm going to try to make this thing work. And I'm still trying to decide which way to go with the wiring harness. So obviously when you're in there, make sure that your wiring is all set. Do your sprocket swap now, because it's just going to make it easier when it's in the bike when it's out of the bike than it is to put it in the bike. Also, highly recommend you check your valve clearances. I see a lot of information about Honda CBR swaps and doing the swaps from the Monkey or the Grom from a CBR 250 or 300, and no one talks about checking your valves. So it's one of those things that most people will just say, whatever, I'm buying this engine, I'm going to beat it up, and it blows up, and it's a CBR small engine displacement bike. So like I said, everyone beats the heck out of these bikes. They're small displacement, so you gotta beat the heck out of them to get going. So it's good to just check your valves. So I did a simple valve clearance check on mine. At that point, I did the PCR valve, or whatever, the little valve on the top, deleted that. My valves were in check, which was nice. I just went to the tightest setting, and if it wouldn't fit underneath the rocker arms, then I was like, okay, well, I would need to replace some shims, but everything was in specs. The engine actually looked brand new inside, so good thing to just check it out. While the engine's out, you don't want to put an engine that doesn't rotate or doesn't work in. So I made sure the valves work, everything looks great. Everything looked great. Like, the only problems were some of the things, the wires were snipped, and I just replaced with a new stator with wires and pickup, and the speedometer sensor, checked everything out. Everything looks fantastic in the engine. And at that point, change your oil filter. It's an easy thing to do right then and there. Pop it out, put a new oil filter in. The reason though I wanted to put this engine in the Monkey is because you really can't touch reliability when it comes to water-cooled engines, especially if you do a lot of loading with them. So, and I plan on doing some, big trips this year. I plan on doing some camping trips with it. And if it's loaded and I've got the little one, it got that little 186 really just thriving and thrumping to get me to, 100, 200 mile away destination, I'm really putting a lot of extra wear and tear on the engine if might as well just upgrade and put a 250 or a 300 in, and then that engine's not working nearly as hard, and it's got water cooling, and it's going to be a little more reliable. So that's what I did. That's step one. So we're going to get everything all set. It's all set. Next step would be putting it inside the Monkey. That's going to be pretty easy I guess then, you know, I'm gonna have to strip the monkey down. I'm still deciding on if I'm gonna do kind of a modification of the harness on the monkey and then run like a piggyback harness. I'm kind of thinking maybe I should do that with this. I'd love to hear your comments below. Give me some of your opinions if I should just run the whole CBR 250 harness, just strip the monkey down, completely strip the harness out, have no wires, no nothing, go with a CBR 250 and convert everything into the 250 bits, or should I just piggyback off the monkey harness? So I'm trying to decide because I could start building that harness now. It wouldn't be too hard. I got to figure out how I'm going to get everything all laid up. But so, you know, the simplest solution is pick up the extra pieces I need and just swap all the controls, all the electrics over to the 250 and then run a 250 harness on the monkey and then be done with it. So, and the other option with that too is that if I were to take the motor out, which I do, I plan on taking this 186 and putting it into something else. I'm not really sure yet. Maybe like an old Grom that, you know, is beat, the engine's blown, it's just is sitting around, needs a new engine, buy a Grom, put that engine in. Because that engine's quite a lot of fun, and I think it would be a lot of fun in a Grom, for example, with some really nice street tires. You could actually rip the mountains pretty good with it. It goes pretty good by itself. I need to lose a couple of pounds. That's kind of my goal for this winter too, is the other motorcycle mod is to lose a couple of pounds, and you know, that would help make it go quicker too. So I think I'm gonna probably end up finding a Grom, putting that engine in, but I would like to retain the harness because then, you know, with the ECU, so I can just plug it in. So if I find something really cool, like an old ATC or something, and I'm like, man, that'd be cool if I could make that a fuel injected ATC, and then you have a 186 ATC, well, that'd be cool, right? So I don't know, we'll figure it out, you know, step by step. So thanks for tuning in. That's basically the prep and readiness of the CBR 300 engine. You really don't want to go into this and not prepare for it. Just make sure you get the engine completely set. It's nothing. It would totally suck if you put everything on, everything together, and the bike's starting hard because the valves are tight, and you got to take the engine down and redo the valves. So, you know, just check everything and just make sure everything looks good. And, you know, any goods that does a good swap is going to check out their pieces before they just throw them in. You know, so that's my 2 cents on that. So let's wrap this one up. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, make sure you like and subscribe. The next episode is going to be the teardown on the monkey, getting it ready for the swap. And maybe I'll put the engine in on that next episode. Who knows? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Best.